Three, two. Hello. The time is 9:48 on July 26th, 2023. My name is Chris Kennard. I'm joined as always with my brother from another mother, Aelor, aka Arkantel, aka Electric Headspace, aka Deadpan Searcher. Together we are Ken Mide, and this is the first quarter of the Superb 16, our brief yet long-winded take on 16 incredible songs from the year 2016. Aelor, in a word, how are you? And how was your 2016 experience as you recall as fondly as possible?
Okay, it's really funny. It's really funny how 2016 now gets remembered now, especially like on Twitter, like social media, where it's all like, "Hey, yo," and I get it. It's like Zoomers saying this stuff, but it's like it's really
Wait,
funny.
wait, 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 wait. Did you say Twitter? Don't you mean X?
Oh, X, which I promise, which is yes. If you're looking for certain videos, I will be the first one to say that it is very much false advertising. You might
I'm
find two
sorry. I don't know
photos.
what you're referring
Yeah,
to.
but yeah. X, not exhibit or DM, the true X, the only X, aka the only X's I acknowledge after Malcolm, but
Or X Japan for that matter.
indeed. So, but yeah, but okay, it's really funny how I think you've probably seen it, how like Zoomers often talk about like 2016. It's like, oh yo man, there was some magic in the air in 2016. Oh yes, 2016, this beautiful magical year. Ah yes, the Garden of Eden was opened in 2016, and I'm like, and I've mentioned it before, and I'm like, what 2016 will you guys live in? Because my 2016, while very much an improvement from my 2015, was also like pretty challenging for me because yeah, there was the stuff I had to deal with in the year before, which thankfully had done a better job in resolving, but yeah, I spent like 2016. I think I spent like the first half of it just being a complete nervous wreck because, because I still was trying to get out of the school I was at the time, so that I could get into the school that I have now, well, left. And there was a time when it just did not look good, and and all of that's happening. I'm noticing the election, and I'm paying a lot of attention to it, and like the writing was just always on the wall every single day, like in spite of who I voted for in the primary, and then voted for in the primary, and then the different person I would vote for in the general, both Democratic Party people. I know, so I know what side of history I was on.
Wait, 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 wait. Hold on. So you mean to tell me, like, let me make sure I don't understand. I mean, I don't misunderstand you, what you just said. Um, and at that year,
Hmm.
at first, so, because I'll put myself out there. I was rooting for Bernie in
Hmm.
2016, and when he lost, I threw my vote away. I voted for the guy with the boot on his head in the general, and I only don't feel bad about that because Hillary won Maryland. But a lot of people, and rightfully so, gave me a hard time about that, and I'll own that. Who did you
And
vote for? Who did you vote for?
I voted for Bernie in the primary, and then I voted for Hillary in the general.
Okay, I want to make sure I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, yeah.
misunderstand that.
That's
Okay,
what I
I
meant.
gotcha.
Vote Democratic,
Hey,
but
hey,
different people.
shout out to Uncle Bernie, dog.
You
For
know?
what it's worth, I want to say this:
Uh-huh.
I really, really like Uncle Bernie. I really do. But as we see today with Mitch McConnell, I I'm concerned. It's like my Uncle Bernie needs a Padawan for Vermont? Who's going to keep Vermont as like the Bernie state when he wants to retire from public office? And I don't care for the way that Bernie is a team player. I wish he was more of a rabble rouser, but he's
Mhm.
been a rabble rouser for his entire like political career. So maybe I'm asking for too much after all at this point in like his run time. Is your mic still unplugged?
One
Oh, you're
moment.
plugging in. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Geez.
Hello.
One
You
moment,
sound
because
fine, by the way.
he loves doing this really, really stupid thing where, and yeah, you can hear me now.
I heard you in the first place. You're fine.
Okay. So, but yeah, so my 2016 was very much okay. I'm trying to move on with my life. I'm trying to move on with my life. I'm trying to move on from all the headache and negativity of the year before. But it was an improvement. It wasn't the year was an improvement in certain ways, but there are definitely certain qualities about that year, even without the election, that looking back, 2016, I don't, I will, it's a year that I'm thankful for in terms of, hey, I was able to move forward in my life in some way. And, but I'm never really going to have that nostalgia that people have for it, because as much as there were lots of like very enjoyable times I had in it, I'm like I'm still gonna be like, yo, like the shootings, all the shootings that were happening, what people forgot about that. I remember when Pulse happened, man. I remember that. I remember that like gnawing at me for months, man. And it's like that, and I remember that. I remember Trump winning the election. So that's what 2016 is to me. It's this very and and that's just on a world scale. In terms of music, it was also when, and in reference to a certain playlist you have seen, where I think that the relationship I had with it really was it really was very much a turning point where music could no longer really be this kind of escapist. Oh, hey, look at the wonderful life you're going to have in the future. Because what future? What future? You know? And where I kind of just also had to accept, I also had to accept, the new breed of stuff that was going on in music, especially in hip hop. Yachty, the Lil Yachty's and stuff. Those kind of people who were really kind of taking over. And not gonna lie, I know there's a lot of I don't know if it's revisionist history, because I think the people who liked it then still like it now. I still think that little boat tape sucked. Unpopular opinion. Popular
Yeah,
opinion.
don't say that shit again. Don't say
Yeah.
that shit again.
I listened to I have Do you know how many times I tried to listen to Never Switch Up? And I was just like, I don't get it. I don't
That's your
get it.
fucking problem. Let me tell you about yourself.
Hmm.
Like I'm a very simple motherfucker. So
Hmm.
like a guy like Yachty shows up, and even if you didn't hear any songs, you saw the Sprite commercial, and I'm like, oh, this shit is funny. And like you hear Cold Like Minnesota the remix, and you hear One Night,
Hmm.
and I'm like, this is the funniest shit I've ever heard. Granted, it's misogynistic as fuck, but like it's hilarious. And like to this day, like Yachty is bigger than he's ever been. And on top of
Yeah.
an album that I cannot co-sign, if you know, you know.
Yeah. And and the the thing with that the new Yachty album, like he was like when he was promoting it, he was basically I remember he said he basically said Oh yeah, all my old I consider all my old music trash. And as of now, as of yeah, like he was really like dissing a lot of his old music.
Yikes.
And my response was, "Oh my goodness, this is the best promotion for his new music ever. I think I'm gonna listen to his new album out. He also thinks his old music sucked. Oh great, hey yeah, I might join the Yachty train. I still have not listened to the new album, by the way, and I will probably
Mm-mm.
find out.
Don't.
So that yeah, so that's like how. I mean, okay, and okay, was it 2016? It was next year, the whole peekaboo thing, and I was just like, and I just remember being like, how do you, how do you mess up cello? Unfortunately for me,
Hilarious.
I actually played in my school's band. So of course I'm the guy who's going to be like, you don't blow a cello, idiot, man. You don't blow a cello, idiot. But that thing still annoys me to hell. It's like, the idiot, idiot, you don't blow a cello, man. But yeah, sorry, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But Yadi, you wrote that City Girls song, so I guess you're cool. So
Which one?
whatever. Act up, act up.
Really? He's a credit on that song?
He admitted he ghost voted. So so okay, all right, all right, Yadi, all right. I'll
Truthfully,
stop. I'll stop.
I only care for that song because some DJ blended it with Kiss of Laugh by Sade and it sounds fucking sick. So
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
that is neither
like,
here nor
but
there. Before we
yeah.
get lost on a tangent, like we're known to do. Again,
Yes,
hi.
like we always do.
Welcome. Thanks for that 12-minute open. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm Chris. That's Aelor. We have 16 songs for you. We're
Hmm.
not going to attempt to do all 16 songs. We've done a 3.5 hour stream once, and it was great because we had a legendary guest, and we hope to see the legendary guest sometime in the future, very soon. Hi, Ben.
Hmm.
Blessings be upon thee and your family. But in the
Indeed.
meantime, we'll tell you all 16 songs. We'll do 4 of them today. Um, they include but are not limited to The Space Program by A Tribe Called Quest, The
Hmm.
Season, and Carry Me by Anderson Paak, Cranes in the Sky by Solange, Every Step, Every Way by Majid Jordan, Drawn by De La Soul and Little Dragon, Same Drugs by Chance the Rapper, Saturday Night Inside Out by The Avalanches, Good Together by Han. Is that how you say their name?
I think either Han or Hone.
I'll say
But
Hone. Hone sounds better. Good
yeah,
Together
yeah,
by Hone.
yeah.
Where Do We Go by Lion Babe. Lost in the
Hmm.
Static by After the Burial. Floridada by Animal Collective. Hardest Pull by Mike Snow. Loyalty by
Hmm.
Killswitch Engage. Wait and Goal by Gallant. Attention by Uptension. And Worth It by Moses Sumney. Today, we'll be recovering Tribe, Anderson, Uptension, and Moses. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hey, Laura, let's start with your songs.
Oh, well, I am so glad you did. So among a lot of the bittersweet ends of 2016, for which there are many, so many bittersweet ends about 2016. 2016 was also the year that unfortunately we lost hip hop legend extraordinaire, Five Dog, who was, while an amazing MC in his own right, of course, we best know him as part of A Tribe Called Quest. But perhaps the most shocking thing about Five's passing, even though by all means I don't know how you could, if you were a Tribe fan, you obviously knew about his health complications and his battle with diabetes and all of that. But perhaps one of the most shocking things to come out from his passing was the news that apparently A Tribe Called Quest was at the time recording new music, and that was a gigantic shock because you know as a tribe fan, we all had kind of just agreed under, like, kind of accepted that it ended with the Love Movement. We didn't like the Love Movement. Well, the Love Movement is a solid album, but it just doesn't work as a final album. But we accepted it. It was like, all right, that was the final Tribe album. So when we heard, unfortunately, we heard about Fife, and that broke everyone in hip hop's hearts. But then we heard, oh yeah, yo, they were about to release a new album. It's like, wait, what? And they were to from, and I think and I think the lead single We the People had already would be released like like around October, and we absolutely loved it. But and this is and geez, isn't this the greatest day to be talking about this show? But really, what would be I would consider a really great standout on this track on this album was what is the very first song, which is the Space Program, which I think it's well, I put it on this list for a reason. I think it's an amazing song. But I will always remember but one thing I will always remember about the song is, and I've shared the video with you in the past. I don't know if you remember it. Um, so Saturday Night Live. Oh boy, it's really fun to talk about Saturday Night Live right now. So Saturday Night Live, right after the election, they had Dave Chappelle, which is really fun to talk about right now.
Yikes.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, I was so hyped for this in 2016. And I was just, oh wow, Dave Chappelle and Charcoal Quest. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be amazing.
Black as
Then the
fuck.
elect, yeah, then the election happened. And I was just, oh boy, you should have seen me, man. You should have seen me. You should have seen me, man. I was, you know, R.I.P. Green Turtles. R.I.P. Green Turtles. All I'm gonna say about my reaction to the reaction to the election. Y'all held me down. Y'all held me down that day. Y'all held me down. Thank R.I.P. Green Turtle. Um, but um, but but I mentioned this that the only thing that made me remotely happy about dealing with all of that was that episode of Saturday Night Live, because the host, and this was before he decided to go in the direction he did, was really funny. But what I consider the heart of that the heart of that night was when Tribe Called Quest would come out and do the Space Program as the second song. And you know it's so depressing how those lyrics, we were always going to connect with those lyrics. We were always going to connect with this song about that's essentially about how when advancements in society happen, Black people are always the ones who get left behind, because the people who think of these advancements never think of us. And oh boy, did that song hit really hard that Saturday. Hit so hard, and I know I've shared this on Twitter. I know I've shared this on Twitter that, like, during one of the breaks, Q-Tip is literally screaming to the crowd, "Hey, what are you going to do?" He's pointing to the crowd. He's like, "What are you going to do? Are we going to move on to the stars, or are we stuck here? Because I think we're stuck here. What are you going to do the next day? What are you going to do? Because we can't give up." And that was one of the few things that made me believe that we could fight this thing. So that's the kind of emotional significance it has for me. But that song's just amazing. I mean, the really cool thing about a Tribe Called Quest true final album, We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service, is that my biggest complaint about their previous final album, The Love Movement, really solid album, has some really great tracks, but it is so obvious that Q-Tip and Five just were not getting along, and they were like, "Hey, yo, we gotta cool. Let's put this album and let's go our separate ways," which no surprise when that album comes out, and 99 and 2000 Q-Tip and Five have already dropped their own solo albums, and Five does kind of sneak this Q-Tip on a few tracks, but whatever. But it's whatever. It's whatever. But the thing that was so great about We Got It From Here is and unfortunately, Five only did a few tracks, and sadly, because sadly he passed away before the album was completed. But it's it's exactly what you expect a final A Tribe Called Quest album to be. It's the kind of album where they were very much, it was very much modernized, and they had like all cool guest artists and stuff like that. But it was also made with this understanding of what made Tribe work in the first place. And it shows in the brilliant production that's on this song. And where like, and not just like it's a good beat, it's really well produced, it's really well sequenced. Gotta get it together for brothers, gotta get it together for sisters, for mothers and fathers and dead. And it's like, and it's like, wow, man. And you really feel like in the years, in the decade, what, jeez, my God. Oh yeah, in the decade, at the time pushing 2 decades, because it came out like 18 years after Love Movement. It is, it's so easy for a reunion album to feel faulty, that it's such a miracle that not only was the album lovely, great, amazing, it's also the reason why I couldn't call De La Soul's Anonymous Nobody my favorite hip hop album of 2016. Because hey, I'm sorry, De La Soul, I love you guys. You guys are also on the list for a good reason, but even during your heyday, a tribe just kind of like blew it out the water for you guys sometimes. I mean, except one year, 1996, when they dropped Stake is High, and A Tribe Called Quest dropped Beats and Rhymes in Life. And Stakes is High is definitely better than Beat Rhymes in Life. But it there is so much to truly be captivated by that. And as unfortunate and it's unfortunate that this album comes, and a legend like Five isn't here to celebrate it with us. It's unfortunate that I have to use this album to cope with Donald Trump winning the election. But if ever there was a truly brilliant final way for one of legendary personal favorite hip hop group of all time to end, yeah, you ended with that album. You ended with a song. You ended with a song like the Donald, which was not about our former president, but it was Fife's kind of like giving himself a nickname, and and I can't think of a better love letter tribute to give Five than that song. And truly just a way to end. I mean, I don't know, hip hop. I don't. The thing about music in general, it's like, but unfortunately, even in hip hop, it's like you don't often. It's not that often that hip hop groups get to have their Abbey Road, where they get to have their final, beautiful grand finale. Even with rappers, there's always this kind of feeling like, geez, man, geez, well, this was cool, but like, it would have been cool if you did another album. And you don't really get that with We Got It From Here. It really does feel like a brilliant final statement from a legendary crew that it took us 18 years to get, but thankfully we got it. But yeah, what did you think of the song?
Well, to start, to be honest with you, I was fucking pissed the first time that I heard it, because I think if you never heard this song, it kind of sounds sloppily put together, because a lot of shit runs into each other. And I hate that when a song just like samples, beats, bars, when there seems to be no like just like fluid, like progression, it irritates me. Sometimes I feel like certain samples get in the way of the bars, and I don't like that. The first time I heard it, I really did not enjoy this song at all. And it wasn't
Mhm.
until I gave the whole list a second go where I'm like, okay, I see the beauty and I see what's really going on in this song. I'm not just like hearing the music for the first time. I'm taking in the words and possibly understanding what's being said and things of that nature. And in regards to your De La Soul comment, if there's one coin to represent hip hop, Tribe is on one side and De La is on the other. And that is without a shadow of a doubt, but that's from an outsider's perspective on just like their overall impact on our people and our culture. What I always tend to do when we cover hip hop songs on this show, I go to Genius and I'm like, what can the internet tell me about this song that I already do not know? In 2016, Q-Tip spoke to the Fader and said, quote, I believe that we have to make a distinction between us as citizens, us as people of the earth, and people who are in positions to pass legislations and pass laws. Then, once we make that distinction, we have to also figure out who is really speaking to the betterment, to our betterment as individuals, and who is speaking to us as a whole. Lastly, and more importantly, is that the power truly lies with people and citizens because we are the ones who are living life on a day-to-day basis. For us, we're just lonely musicians and artists. We shout shit out and we try to articulate things and put it into an artistic fabric. Earlier, Aelor mentioned the first portion of verse 1 with Jerobi and Q-Tip. Um, that they have the line where it says hold on, I'm trying to find it because I had the whole thing up. It's like gotta get it together forever, gotta get it together for brothers, gotta get it together for sisters, for mothers and fathers and dead niggas, for nonconformists and one hitter quitters, for Tyson types and Che figures. And I thought about that last line, Tyson types and Che figures, because like if you click on the link, it shows you, oh, not only is it talking about Mike Tyson, it's also talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson and Che Guevara. And of the three people that they're talking about, truthfully speaking, I only respect one of them, and I'm gonna let you figure out which one that might be. But be as that as it may, spoiler alert, it's Mike Tyson. He's the only one that I respect in this current era. If you know, you know. Um, it's like it's really hard for people who make the kind of impact on rap like a Q-Tip to do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like you said earlier, there have been 18 years since their last release, and their last release was not met with just like overall yes, like they finished the story. You know what I mean? It was like oof, bittersweet ending. And you can also make the same sort of like argument for we'll take it from here in regards to a bittersweet ending, but it came at a time where it's like no idea, no one has any fucking clue what's around the corner for us if a motherfucker like 45 can rule the world. And so I think to start this playlist off with that record, with that song, was a stupendous decision. I'm going to say this now. Aelor, your half of this playlist is fucking incredible. You did such a great job telling a story about this particular year's music in a way that I never could. Like you are truly a
Thank you.
storyteller, and I cannot wait to see how like your skills develop as you have the opportunity and spaces to like create to paint on larger tapestries. Holy fuck, just like 1 through 8 is a stupendous just like arrangement, and you should be very proud of the songs that you selected. You can once
Thank you.
again like giving me like 8 songs that I sincerely enjoy, like
Mhm.
more than I thought I would. So like my boy, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Um
Thank you.
yeah, it's like you hear like I think at the time you hear that Tribe Called Quest puts out one last album. I didn't give it a chance. I was more focused on other bullshit. And like I think my half kind of like shows the other bullshit that I was kind of like more concerned with.
Mhm.
I don't think that my half tells as brilliant a story as yours does, because like well, I said before, I'm a simple kind of guy, and like I feel that yours, like your half, just like really spreads its wings in regards to just like not only but just like indie bullshit, but just like yo, like there, there there's something to be said about 2016 that a good chunk of people will never hear. And so if they ever, if our playlist was like a vinyl record, I hope they put it on your side before they put it on mine.
Well, hey, truly, all praise is always greatly appreciated, and I think it helps. I think one thing that's kind of helped with me is that it helps that I was always kind of very archivist about the music I was in, about the music I was into. Like, being on YouTube, I would have thousands and thousands and thousands of players, and even and yeah, in looking back, I do really kind of try to kind of find that balance between the things that I was listening to then that I really liked, and the things that still really still still really hold a place for me now. And it's I'll be honest, I'm genuinely surprised that I was able to like remember all the stuff that I did. I was like, man, would I really be able to have like all of this stuff? And I was like, oh no, but I was like, oh wow, hey, I remember this. I remember what it meant to me then. And and even talking about, tribe, it's like, yeah, thank you for I can't believe I in all the talk about it, I can't believe I forgot to mention, yeah, the fact that Jerobi White, the kind of, I guess, kind of like the Pete Best of Tribe, who was on their famously was on their debut album. You can see him in the I left my wallet in El Segundo video, and the Can I Kick It video, and even Benita Applebum. But after that, when they were a quartet, but then he would leave for, I believe, culinary school, and then they became a trio. And all the more reason why We Got It From Here, I think, truly does stand as like probably I would argue, probably the closest a hip hop ever came to its own Abbey Road, in terms of like a a a wonderful legendary crew just kind of saying, hey, this is us having our grand finale. Unless you're one of those people who consider Let It Be the true Beatles album, which, hey, I'm not going to get on that, but I just remember what the Beatles recorded last, much like I remember what the Tribe Called Quest
The
recorded.
Beatles, who are they? Never heard of them. They
Yeah.
certainly didn't drop anything in 2016. Moving on.
Hmm. But
The,
yeah, Line Babe. That's
no,
what we're
fuck
going.
no, no. We're getting to the. Wow, that tone was so awful. No, 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 no. That's like that's like God. I don't know. Definitely not. No. Next song is we're still talking about your songs, bro. We're let's talk about Anderson Paak. Anderson
Okay.
Paak.
Oh,
Yes, Lord.
so okay, yeah. So, man, Anderson Pack, man, there's just so much to talk about with Anderson. This song, and just, man, it's like and just the place that Anderson was in, where Anderson was in 2016, which makes this song, it's I don't know. It's hard. I kind of see this song as like, I think like Aaron Sorkin, the guy who wrote Social Network and the Steve Jobs movie. He once said that when he wrote the Steve Jobs movie, he saw it as, I was basically trying to write Steve Jobs' plea to God to get into heaven. That was what I intended with when I wrote the Steve Jobs movie. And I won't say this is his plea to get into heaven, but it's very much Anderson's plea. It feels like a spiritual plea to for him to just succeed in life. And because you look at the story he's telling, which a story which I could definitely connect with at that point, because I was no, I didn't have a family member locked up, but I was very concerned about a family member. at the time. And thankfully the reason, thankfully the issue that was with that family member would thankfully get resolved. But I was, here I was, I barely really had a dollar, much money. I'm trying to finally finalize stuff with, the school where it is so easy to just kind of drop out and do whatever. And I'm kind of just trying to battle my own personal negativity. And here's this guy who I was first introduced, much like the internet. He was on Late Show with Stephen Colbert early in 2016. That was his big television debut. And at that time, Anderson was already getting hype. He had done a collab. He was on the Bad Neighbors collaboration album in 2015 with Madlib, Med, and Blue. He is on, I think, geez, the Strip. The Strip. He's on the Strip. He was on. He did a song. He did another song with Blue for this other crew called The Elements of Music. The Elements of Music. I think. Yeah, Elements of Music, which really cool album that I wish got more love. Shout out to Rock Ring Park. Man, that was just such a blast of a song. He was also featured prominently on the Compton album, which was, despite its name, not put out in promotion of the Straight Outta Compton movie, which I never saw.
It was all right.
I never saw. Which
It was all right. You should. I think that you should.
Okay, I know it's never really
It's not
got
Dr.
around
Dre,
to.
but you should see that movie.
Yeah, but he was, and he was on his album, the Compton album, which was supposed to be his big. I don't know what he I'm not. I don't know. I don't know what he expected out of that album. I'm not saying it's awful. It's just, I mean, I grew up on 2001. Grew up on 2001. There's a reason we talk about 2001. And the Compton album isn't bad, but the one big highlight on that album is Anderson .Paak. Like, yeah, there are other cool features. Kendrick, I think Eminem's on it as well. But the person who you come out being like, whoa, who is this guy? Who's all over the album? Anderson .Paak. So I already kind of had an understanding of, okay, this is really interesting guy. So, and I see that performance on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and I was like, okay, okay, yo, I gotta get on the Pack train like right now. And it's in that performance that he performed Silicon Valley, which is such a song. Yeah, such a song, such a song. To the people, to the a tribute to loving the ladies who get plastic surgery. That's all I'm gonna describe that song. But it
Oh, the
was,
bad song, boy. Don't be afraid.
you know, I just, he Anderson is really funny, and it's the humor that saves that song, because it's just,
Hold on
you know,
though. Hold on. Because like you do this shit all the time because you're like you just thought you just not hold on.
yeah, it's the same over here too.
You're no political science student, but you're such a politician, bro. Like you won't outright say that shit is trash if it's trash. And I'm not saying that you're saying that, but like I
Yeah,
respect you more if you would. Is Silicon Valley a trash song? Is he being like
it,
is he being like overly misogynistic or
it,
some shit? What, like you're
no,
saying it's such a song. What the fuck do you mean such a song? Come on now.
because I think it's just, it's a really, because I think it's kind of, I think it's kind of weird to make a song about how horny you are over women who get plastic surgery, and how much you really want to, and how much you are really passionate about about like having a lot of low down dirty sex. And it's just like, okay, I don't know if I needed to hear that. You're really funny on the song. It's like really humorous, but it's just like, man, you got some fetishes, man. You got some fetishes. You got some fetishes, man. Like, but hey, Anderson Paak does not care if you get a BBL. Anderson Paak is pro you getting that BBL, by the way. So but what? So yeah, shout out to body positivity Anderson Paak there. But yeah, the
I
humor
just looked up the
saves it.
lyrics. I just looked up the lyrics. I see what you're saying, but this song has big no makeup by Kendrick Lamar energy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's look, thankfully Anderson, and this is what has saved Anderson, like this is really what has helped Anderson. He's really funny. When
Mm.
he wants to be funny, he knows how to be. So
Best teeth in the
it's
game.
yeah, so it saves like a few songs. Like I don't think this needed to exist, but thankfully thankfully you're really clearly having a lot. You're clearly showing your sense of humor. So it's like, all right, cool, all right, cool. But okay, let's talk about the seasons, which is just this amazing story, which I would say is his plea to any whatever higher power you subscribe to say, hey, I have gotten a raw deal in my life, and I would appreciate it if you would just let me make things right, because there is so much that has gone wrong in my life, from my mother getting arrested, and and me having to go through all these hoops to being able to see her in prison, because he can't see his mother because his license got suspended, to okay, I'm trying to make my living doing this music thing, but at the same time I'm also trying to get this money saved because my wife might get deported, and I did clearly don't want that. And I'm going through this, and I'm just thinking, wow, my family history sucks, and I really wish I could just get a break to make things, to make this right. And he says, one of these things is my rise, one of these things is my downfall. I am the one to make it right. And the thing that had always captivated me about Anderson Paak is that, and obviously this is a huge factor into why the Anderson Paak we now know of now is like, oh yeah, yo, Silk Sonic, leave the door open and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, he was very much that, and I always picked up on his brilliant love for like, so for old school soul records, but there was something that even then I could tell he had that, and not to diss his Silk Sonic partner, and this is not diss that, it's like, but that Bruno Mars didn't, where it was, I don't know, and Bruno Mars, by all means, every dollar that man has is a dollar he's earned, but and maybe this is just me, like there was always this kind of like very like MTV ready quality to him that he always played up on, which didn't make me dislike him. It was just it just always made it question how much it's like, man, it's like, am I really gonna get into this guy? Because and also gotta be honest, some of those Bruno Mars songs were trash, man. you know are y'all still listening to the Lazy song? Be honest. Are y'all still listening to the Lazy song?
I'm just mad this motherfucker thought he can make a song like Young Girls and like the Gorilla remix and Wake Up in the Sky and act like we never fucking forget.
You know,
Pepperidge Farm
but
remembers. Bruno.
but but this just but this but like but that's the thing. Anderson has done his homework, man. Anderson has done his home. Anderson was a guy, Anderson is a guy who has done his homework. Yes, he's listening to those old soul records, and it's like, but it's not just like vintage retro worship. It's just an understanding of the rhythms and just the spirit of it. Like you listen to these lyrics and the delivery. He says, my knees hit the floor and my screams hit the Lord, and it's like, and you can, and it's so easy, and the picture is so vivid. And it was just like, man, I'm going to be completely honest with you. At the time that Malibu came out, which I absolutely loved, I thought was amazing. I honestly thought, like, oh yeah, this is the last time we're ever going to hear about Anderson .Paak, man. There's no way. There's no way that a guy like this, who is who has kind of like um clearly a student of the Kendrick Lamar school of, I can be very idiosyncratic, and all the heads can love me, but also I can get that mainstream love. Like, dude, there's no way this guy is going to like. There's no way the mainstream's gonna accept this guy, man. I was like, okay, and I loved Malibu. I loved Malibu when it came out, but I was like, oh man, yeah, okay, all right, I'm gonna appreciate this now. And then, 3 years later, I'm gonna be like, oh, what happened to Anderson .Paak? And he signed to Aftermath Records. Oh, geez, yeah. How many people signed to Aftermath Records who are not Eminem or 50 Cent that actually get to release the albums? All right, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, this was cool, but okay. I mean, I'm glad we had this ride, Anderson. I love this album, but okay. But if this and this was something because I've spoken about this in the past, you get, being from that indie world, you are so used to artists coming, getting buzz and then nothing happening. And I had every reason to think that was going to be the situation with Anderson. And then it wasn't. And that's what makes this song all the more special in retrospect, because this plea that he's given, him going into detail after detail about just all the ways life has screwed him over. And yeah, and 7 years later, I mean, look, Anderson still has a lot more musically to do, but he got his happy ending. I mean, he's making a living off his music. He's won a whole bunch of Grammys solo, and shout out to him with Silk Sonic. Like, I mean, okay, maybe all right. Maybe not. If you know music, you know who Anderson .Paak is. If you know music in the here and now,
I
you know who
disagree.
Anderson .Paak is.
I disagree. All right, so you're tapped in. Like,
Yeah,
motherfuckers don't need to know anything about you to know that you're tapped in. Like, you have access to shit that your average Joe does not have access to. Because I consider myself an average Joe. I would like to argue I'm as obsessed of music that like you are, but like you just know you have more access to shit that I don't have, and I wish that I did, or wish that I cared about as much shit as you do. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, I did not know who the fuck Anderson .Paak was for a long time. And if you've been keeping score, he only has 6 albums, but all of his albums have done like tremendous work for the motherfuckers who beat the block underground for like this black music shit. You know what I'm saying? The first time I like significantly said, yo, who the fuck is that in regards to Anderson .Paak was Am I Wrong with Schoolboy Q? Because I'm like, yo, who the fuck is making shit like this? Ain't no motherfucker in 2016 that's like popping is making shit like Am I Wrong by Anderson .Paak. Besides maybe like Janelle Monáe, if we're being fucking honest with ourselves, as far as like
yeah,
people
yeah.
who are black that like are allowed to take chances with their art. You know what I'm saying? And so I put this song on not knowing what to expect whatsoever. And what I like about Anderson .Paak is that he'll surprise you every time in regards to what he can bring to the table with the bars, with his singing, with his drum playing and stuff like that. But here's my problem with Anderson .Paak. The best thing about Anderson .Paak is that he can work with anybody. But the worst thing about Anderson .Paak is that he will work with anybody. If you go to his appears on, he has so many fucking feature credits, including for one Chris Brown. And like Aylor has said, he signed to Dr. Dre. Personally, I can't stand Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I also have my complicated relationship
let's not even call
with
it
Dr.
fucking
Dre.
complicated. That
Yeah.
motherfucker is a villain. You know what I mean? And like we don't acknowledge these sort of things. When you're goaded as a black man in music, like we're never gonna let you go as a people. And that I believe is to our detriment. And for the record, I understand that myself and Aylor are fucking square ass niggas. But that being said, it's like it really just goes to show you what like you can get away with when you're a black man who has the sauce. And that's not me wishing malintent on any black man who's fucked up and continues to fuck up in the public eye with no repercussion. Do what you do, you know what I'm saying? I ain't God, but how do I take in your work in that way? Like Aylor said, the Silk Sonic EP fucked shit up, and I love that fucking EP. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I would go out and purchase that motherfucker if streaming wasn't so like if streaming wasn't a thing, I'd have to own that album just because it is a historical landmark in regards to its achievements. I'm
Mhm.
surprised I didn't talk about it more with my R&B live stream with Haystack West, but that's neither here nor there.
Shout out to
Like
Haystack, by the way.
if this say what?
Shout out to Haystack, by the way. Shout out to
Love that
Haystack.
motherfucker,
Yeah.
man. Good
Yeah.
has a good egg. Um, if this is like if you've never heard Anderson .Paak before and hear this one song, that's all you really need to hear. But
Hmm.
I would also say watch the NPR like Tiny Desk. Like watch any live performance. You know what I'm saying? Like uh a lot of like black music has changed because motherfuckers like Anderson .Paak aren't leading the charge. You know what I'm saying? Musicians. Not to say that people like say like JPEG Mafia who are like masters of DAW or just like folks who are really talented with the pen or like just like straight vocalists aren't like they already like folks who are already doing everything that they can to like do their best. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about them. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact of the matter is uh lack of support in the arts in schools is why like we don't have more Anderson .Paaks in black
Yeah.
communities. And like like he's really doing like his best to uh just like represent like the five pillars of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? He's a storyteller. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like again, like since like he's a wavy motherfucker, he's gonna make a song like Milk and Honey from Venice, and it's like, hey yo, this shit is kind of weird, but it's like he's a storyteller, dog. Like I kept going
Yeah.
back to that song for a while because I'm like, yo, this shit is fucking weird as shit, but like who's really like telling weird ass stories like this in the mainstream? We don't have a lot of folks who do that. And
Yeah.
like it's just like again, I want to shout out the producers of this song, Ninth Wonder, one of the most important producers in hip hop today, and a guy who I
Absolutely.
don't know, Callum Connor, who produces the back half of this song. Again, who's on like the more underground part of hip hop, who's worked with like Pack extensively and with like cats like Watsky. Shout out to them white boys who be rapping for real, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
on and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
forth. It's just like I just TLDR, this song is interesting and it's like enjoyable to listen to. And it's like if you like, I think it's great if you don't know anything about Pac personally, about like his family history, about like just like his personal life. Like I only happen to know that Pac has a son because there's a funny clip of him talking to his kid about like, oh, like you don't watch BET, and his kid's like, what are you talking about? BTS? He's like, no, nigga. And I'm like, it's so funny to me because I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like he's a regular motherfucker at the end of the day, but just I don't know, good fucking record. Please listen to it. But
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm even trying to arrive to a point, but the song's fucking good, dog.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad that like I'm glad that you can like get so much out of that. Like the last time we like recorded a session, I gave you a hard time for going like a straight half hour about like the Go team, but like it's
Yeah.
just the way that you could extrapolate so much value from like a
Mhm.
fucking 4 minute song, like a 4 minute double song. Well, my bad, like a 5.5 minute song, which is like gives you like
And
a whole lot for a little. You know what I mean? Like you'll listen to this song and it won't even feel like 5 minutes.
yeah, and the thing is, there's honestly like stuff I forgot. Like there are actually certain lines that still like that's I forgot to mention, such as in the season where he says, "I spent years living under my greatness," which once again it adds to how this song is his plea to like a higher power to basically be like, hey, look, look, like give me a break and let me do what I gotta do because I promise you, all the issues with my family, all the issues with my family, all that trauma. I look you. I want to make this right, but I can't make it right if I have to deal with all of this stuff right now, and nothing changes. And that was and it's weird because it's like if I could it that song, I got it's a prayer. It's a prayer in a way. And then and you look
To
at
several
Anderson,
people, yeah.
yeah, and you look at Anderson now, it's thankfully it was a prayer that was answered. And hey, in 2016 I thought this was gonna be the end of it. Like, hey, cool,
That's only the
whatever, man.
fucking beginning.
Yeah, because it was like what space did we have for a guy like this? Yeah, because in
He made some,
2016
that's for
it
fucking
was,
sure.
yeah. And my and as far as I am, I really do hope that we can have a a crop of other Anderson Paak. Well, I'm not saying Anderson Paak copycats, but like people who like have studied the book the way he did. And hey, all the more reason to be thankful for what I was able to kind of like gather from that year. But I guess that's really kind of it from my side, and we are going, and our next one we're going to Line Babe.
No, bro. I'm so all right. Hold on. You
Yeah.
mug. How do you know how? I guess I'm either you're not paying attention or I'm a shitty communicator. Because like I know for a fact I was like, hey, bro, we're doing the first two and the last two. You know what I mean? And somehow you keep jumping to like the front of my fucking list. We're going backwards, bro. Like we're in the
My bad.
last two. I'm pretty sure I set up tension and Moses Sumney, and that's what we're gonna fucking do.
Okay. Yes. And I did remember. Okay.
Here's what we're gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say. Up tension. So like let's have a fucking K-pop conversation about 2016. It's so fucking weird. All right, so here's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I picked a song from a K-pop group who I'm sure nobody right now actually listens to unless you like currently just thrive in stan idol music culture. Because I heard this one song, and as far as my limited Western lens was concerned, I never saw them again. And
Mm-hmm.
if you click on Uptension's name on the Spotify list, they have less than
Mm-hmm.
50,000 listeners for an idol group, and they put out at least 11 mini albums. I guess you could say that's EPs and shit. And they
Wow.
dropped, and like that EP and the last one, Codename Arrow, came out last year. So it's not as if like they like just like fell off the earth. But I imagine when you're not one of the big four groups in that culture, like YG, SM Entertainment, uh, JYP, or like HIBE, like
Mm-hmm.
you're figgity fucked. You know what I mean? Unless
Mm-hmm.
like you have a really undeniable like comeback single and things of
Mm-hmm.
that nature. I just wanted like a song that to me exemplified what made K-pop so much fucking fun. But before we get started, I'm gonna hop on Wikipedia and figure out how many guys left the group because I'm pretty sure there was a shit ton of them when they started. Okay, I'm talking shit. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there were 10 originally, and to my knowledge, there are 7. So like, not bad, all things considered. It's not like we have like an EXO issue where there were like 16 members when we started, and there's like maybe less than 8 at this time. Feel free to like fact check that if you're part of the
Mhm,
XOL fandom
mhm,
fighting. Um, like I never looked up the English translation for this song, so maybe I'll do that while we're talking. And
mhm.
all right, I'll make you talk while I'm trying to look this up. You hear the song? Did you watch the music video, or did you just hear the song?
I heard the song, and
You didn't
it's
watch the
not it's
video?
no, I did not. I did
Fuck.
not watch
All
the
right.
video.
No, 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 no.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm
Here's what
gonna
we're gonna do.
Google it
Here's
right
what we're gonna do.
now.
Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. Yeah. Put the video on,
Okay,
turn the sound off, and just like
okay,
watch that while I'm talking, I guess. I guess we have to like
okay,
we gotta do
okay.
fuck it, we'll do it live because like I
Yeah.
think it's like significant in regards to just like how K-pop changed around that period of time because when I got into the culture, when I got into like this like sort of like subgenre, you have a group like Super Junior and their big song "Sorry Sorry" with like I don't know, like I think around like 12 dudes at the time in a big ass room, nice suits, like
Mhm.
black and white lighting, and it's just like it was like that. It was very kind of silly, and like I feel with Up
Uh,
Tension, there's more just like of an effort to like make the boys stand out. There are two versions of the song.
mhm.
Um, and I didn't realize there was a second version of the song until like as I was making the YouTube version of the playlist. And it's like, like the clothing is updated. Obviously, these guys appear to be younger. I'm sure, like
Mhm.
at the peak of like an idol group's like, like debut, they're all around the same age, but like it's like, I don't know. It's just I appreciate just like the enthusiasm of the composition and like oftentimes when like a K-pop song, a K-pop comeback has like the obligatory rap verse, it feels
Mhm.
very ham-fisted, but this one just felt very smooth and like I appreciate just like the cheesiness of the hey yo like call back on like the just like the back half of the song. It's like I feel as though boy bands in K-pop culture made
Uh-huh.
like the idea of being in a boy band way more fun than like 90s boy bands because it all seems so stilted and like like it didn't look fun like I feel like the East made like being in a boy band appear way more fun than like
Yeah.
in the West because like I'm sure like those guys in like like an NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and all those other groups like worked really
98
fucking
degrees.
hard to do what they did,
Yeah.
but I just feel like the fruits of their labor like seem more like it seems more tangible in the East. It's like the choreography
Mhm.
seems to hit better. Just like more focus on like what the boys had to wear and
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
focus and like maybe to like I don't think like it's hard to like pick out who your favorite is if your boy band's
Yeah.
huge. Like if they're like
Mhm.
well, again 10 dudes in the group, how you gotta pick
Mhm.
out the one? I feel as though if you're
Mhm.
not like really like tapped in like that, but like
Mhm.
I presume you're seeing what I'm like what kind of like just like
Yeah.
excited me about like the video and seeing this like just like the it seems like the company's like, all right, this has to hit or we're fucked. But like as we can see, like they're still out here. It's just that there's no like this demand for where's that new Up Tension single? We need that new Up Tension single. So
Mhm.
I think I hope I've done a good enough job of just like extrapolating value, like based on what you've seen and what you heard, like what did this song do for you exactly?
I mean, it's okay. You were not kidding about the music video. It's like, wow. I mean, okay, like the then me and my relationship with K-pop is that even though I never became a K-pop fan, I never became a K-pop fan. Like, I was always hearing rumblings of it, even like back in like 2011. And shout out to Mnet. The
Yeah, for
few,
sure.
yeah, the like when I had access to the Mnet channel or TV channel for like 3 seconds, but I would always end up bumping into it because Mnet replaced another music channel that was a huge fan of. Shout out to the soundtrack channel. I miss movie tie-in soundtracks, but it reminded us like, geez, I can't remember the name of this group, but they had this song. I think it was please stay away from my girl or don't go to my girl. The music video was looked kind of looked the same because I definitely remember these guys dancing on a rooftop in those same incredibly ultra synchronized moves, but I do not remember the camera being as dynamic as it is here. And yeah, there is, I will say, I mean, the thing that I've gotten used with K-pop is like, and I think like BTS would really kind of show it on like on butter, and I guess it kind of adds to that whole kind of comment on how much K-pop really takes from R&B culture, because it's just like, man, man, it's like it. I don't know why, but for some reason, it reminds me a lot of like the opening verse to BTS's Butter. Just
Can I
in
stop you there for a sec?
yeah, it's like the funkiness of it, the
In
funkiness.
regards to the composition is concerned, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying, and like I kind of hate that, to be honest with you. Only because I feel that Butter is a very cheap offering from an otherwise stupendous group that is BTS. Because like I feel like there was a specific period of like their career when like they could do no wrong as far as putting out a single was concerned. But I feel
Mhm.
as though popping off in the West kind of cheapened their power in a way. It was very
It
much like
happens.
if they're going to
Yeah.
drop a single that like was going to be marketed to the West, it was going to be very 50-50 for me. Like I feel
Hmm.
like Dynamite kind of overstayed its welcome because like when it came out,
Hmm.
it was just the right amount of like just like upright cheesy, like just like straight up cheesiness that pop demands. But like Permission to Dance did not work for me
Hmm.
at all.
Okay.
As a
Yeah.
fan of BTS, and I love that Megan Thee Stallion got a verse on the remix of Butter, but I almost feel like it's a waste of a feature because there are more. I feel like there are more just like rap heavy songs that BTS have
Hmm.
made that she would have fitted way better on. Songs like Ugh or like
Hmm.
Fire from like like from around like that period of time. And they're still like just like
Hmm.
focused on being like an Eastern superpower in that regard. And I have very like this like humbling news for the two of us. I found the English translation to like Attention by Uptension, and like the lyrics are fucking awful. Absolutely terrible.
Like, is it some she's playing hard to get, and I'm trying to get her attention?
Listen, so
Then
like you have
is
shit
that what
like
it is?
hold on. You have shit like quote when you're with me, stop looking at your phone. Who is it that you're texting with for hours? Is it a guy? It keeps bugging me. I just can't be friends with you anymore. I don't like it. You're not recognizing me yet. You're still wandering. Listen carefully to what I say right now. I like you. Answer me. I know I'm in your heart. Erase anything else that's not me from your heart. Don't take your eyes off me.
Wow.
Only look at me. Don't look anywhere else. From now on, only pay attention to me. What kind of man do you dream of? I will be that man. Even if you think you know me, it'll be different when you see me as a man. I don't like it. Walking one step away from you. Listen carefully. Don't smile and call other guys oppa anymore. And I'm like, my boy, what? And then
Do
like,
you know how weird it is when you make Childish Gambino lyrics sound like incredibly well-rounded, mature understanding of relationships with women? Do you know how bad you like
I have made a
yo like
grave error.
yeah, like Camp Ever Gambino would not have said this. And I say this, and
Yes,
I
the
say
fuck he
this
would
as
have. Yes, the fuck he would have.
okay. All right. I have, I made the mistake of quoting a line from Freaks and Geeks to a woman I was very fond of, and
Shut the fuck up. Which one?
you're gonna despise me for
I
saying that.
promise I will not.
I said it as a joke. I
Which
said it as
one?
a joke. The elephant one.
I know.
And I was like, it's like, haha, my an elephant never. Yeah. And and she could tell that I was joking, and she was just like, "Oh my good, you wish." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I know, I
Okay, okay, hold on. I have to say that I'm sorry to my upstairs neighbor because if you're asleep right now, I probably woke you the fuck up. But I knew it. I'm like in my head, like this motherfucker's gonna say it. And Alfred never forgets. My dick remembers everything. Baby boy. Oh, I'm gonna hold you in my arms so tight when I see you again.
I I
You are
I was
fucking
saying it to be
hilarious.
funny. I was saying it to be
I
funny. Like I
know.
knew it was bad. Like I
I
wasn't
know.
trying to be like. And she was still like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You wish. So I was like, yeah, I
My bad. Listen,
know.
my boy was out here looking like Oppenheimer from that motherfucking fumble a bad bitch meme.
Yeah, it's just like,
Hey,
it's
bro,
like,
I
yeah,
fucking love you, dog.
yeah.
But I didn't get to the worst part. Let me break down the rap verse from this motherfucker. My man said, "Hey, wait, did you really not know my heart? How can I be more obvious? This is frustrating. I won't twist my words anymore. Either choose me or reject me. Answer me now. I'll do everything for you on any day. Before you sleep, I'll call you every night. Come here, look at me. Don't think about anything else with me by your side."
It's like, I mean, it helps that the music video feels like a K. It These lyrics kind of feel like something that a boy in a K drama would say, like in an
I can't comment on
interview.
that shit. I never
You
seen a
know,
single K
and
drama a day in
it's
my life.
so maybe see this as a soundtrack to a K drama that you will probably never watch. Because I know because I probably won't unless there's someone who's like, yo, you really gotta check out. K drama, high school K drama number 27. I was like, and hey, I'm sorry. I don't want to insult South Korea. The South Korean entertainment industry is
We're looking for
very, very
jobs, so
solid.
pull up.
So, and that the punchline is very much that I am a very ignorant Westerner who does not understand who does not know the myriad of ways in which South Korean entertainment is absolute boss. So please, when in all my comments, just understand that I'm prefacing this with I am very much an idiot Westerner. The thing,
Man, shut the fuck
to
up. You're not an
but,
idiot. You're not an
you know,
idiot.
but uh,
If anything,
but
if anything, it's like, hold on, let me do a quick view count on this goddamn music video real quick, just for my own sake. Because like, man, this is why pop music is so fucking evil. Because I'm watching this shit like, ooh, man, damn, wow, this shit is so upbeat and fun. Whole time, this motherfucker has less than 3 million views.
3 million, less than three
Ah,
million. Wow.
less than 3 million. And if you know anything about like the big,
Mm,
let me pull up like some big songs from 2016 K-pop real quick, just like scale out, um, like at
mhm,
least for the guys. Okay, so like okay, boom. There's like Blood, Sweat, and Tears by
mhm.
BTS, which was a huge fucking single for that group.
Yes.
And that song right now has over 900 million. And like like now like they're like the big fucking group over there, like the number one guy group right now, period, for the subgenre. Let me pull up like a group that's been around a little longer than they have with Shiny and their song "Tell Me What to Do."
Hmm.
And this was probably, I'm not sure if it was before or after one of the members unfortunately passed away, but even that
Oh.
song, a band that's kind of like over the hump, at
Mhm.
least it cracked over like 20 million hits and things of that nature. These are the kind of numbers
Mhm.
you got to put up if you want to have any appeal to Westerners or some other bullshit. But me, I had to like pick up the one that was like unique or some shit, and now I'm just like, it's bordering on incel core. This shit is some
Yeah.
evil Ken music right here, dog. In the sense that like, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and
pay attention to me, babe. Yeah,
yeah, and to our listeners, yeah, we did go see Barbie. Actually, it was,
it's complicated.
yeah,
Enjoy. Let me say, it's
yeah,
enjoyable as fuck to watch, but as
yeah,
if you don't think it's corny, it's complicated in praxis. So
yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, I would say, from like film critics side, I mean, yes, there I can talk about a complaint I might have here and there. For the most part, I very much did enjoy it. I think
Better
it's
than
a
we
really
thought.
cool, enjoyable time. I guess the only complaint that I will mention is that it's like I kind of wish Sasha, who's like the daughter, I wish she like got I wish she like kind of got it had kind there were moments that where like it kind of focused on her because because
Oh,
with the mother.
more than what the script was given.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because like with the mom, it's like, oh wow, I love Barbie. I have this history of Barbie, and it's like okay, and you can tell like her interest in like fashion and design and drawing and stuff like that. I don't know anything about the daughter other than just she hates Barbie and she hates patriarchy, and that's cool. That's cool, but I don't know nothing about her. Like, yo,
All I'll say, all I'll
does
say
she
is I
like
like
Jonas
them.
Brothers? I don't know.
I don't think that character was a fan of the JVs.
Yeah.
All I'll say is that whoever wrote this film owes some reparations to the Native community. If you know, you know.
Yes, indeed, indeed,
Let's
indeed,
we're it's about an hour and 15 minutes into our stream. We just hit 11 o'clock. We're running a lot faster than we usually do. It was a good
indeed.
idea on our part to like split this up into 4 recordings.
Hmm.
Thanks to our two viewers who are watching us right now. Fucking let's get to this last song, why don't we? Let's talk about a true black underrated. Like, we're talking about Anderson .Paak and shit, how
Yeah.
underrated and shit he is. Let's talk about a true underrated like musician, Moses motherfucking Sumney. You first, when you hear
Huh?
the song, what comes to mind?
It's like I, man, like okay, and I don't really like comparing all the we were I know we hate the term, but it's the term, the alternative R&B people. But man, like this reminded me so much of FKA Twigs' Water Me. Like, did you ever listen to
Interesting.
Water Me?
I never
Yeah,
heard that song before, but I know that song had tremendous impact on like independent music when it came out.
yeah, yeah, and it's very much because the thing about Water Me is that it has this at times skeletal vibe, and there is this kind of like eeriness to it that I definitely that I kind of was getting from it. And I think Moses is great great in terms of vocalizing and really using his voice as as its own kind of at times its own variation of an instrument here and there. And Moses, and I think, and Moses Sumney, I'm really been digging what he's been up to. Like he's very much a guy who like wants to truly be seen as an artful in that kind of art avant-garde area. And it's really cool when there's a song that you can feel so many different elements of it. Because yeah, there is maybe we could classify it under like alternative R&B and stuff like that. But it's very avant-garde, man. It's very like progressive, like I am trying to test out the limits of what I believe can be done on in music, at times being very minimal, at times being very minimalistic. And it's one of those songs that I definitely understand it's not going to be for everyone, you know but you know
Is it for
but
you?
I think yeah, I think in terms of, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. I forgetting her name, and she was just on What's on in my Amoeba's What's in My Bag. And I just Madison McPherson. Yeah, Madison McPherson. Is her
Oh,
name Madison?
yeah, bro, it
Yeah,
is. Bobby's daughter.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Who I am so embarrassed that I'm familiar with Bobby McFerrin, and I just found out a few weeks ago that Madison is actually Bobby's daughter. I was just like, oh wow, it's
That
just such a cool.
motherfucker's guilty. That
Like,
motherfucker's guilty. That motherfucker's guilty.
I don't know what it says. I don't know what it says about me, and I'm not, and I absolutely have the utmost respect for Bobby McFerrin. I think he is truly one of the, like much, he himself was the son of truly an amazing vocalist himself, and a guy who understand how to use his voice as this kind of multi-layered instrument. And like Moses is so from Bobby McFerrin school of like, can I telling a story, being able to tell a story, to cultivate a feeling and tell a story, not just from words alone, but just from what I can convey with my vocals alone. And it's it's something that I absolutely admire, even if I will be the first one to admit, like, man, but if I try to play this for someone, it will be very much okay. Yeah, that was nice. Never play this for me again.
Can
Why?
I jump in?
Yeah, please.
Just so I can just like illustrate to people how like cool and interesting Moses Sumney is. A
Mhm,
good friend of mine, you know who you are. Shout out to you.
mhm,
Was like, oh, I saw James Blake in concert, and Moses Sumney was the opener, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking tight. Like a black dude, like going on tour with Moses Sumney. I need to going on tour with James Blake. I need to like put in the research to find out who he is. Like I love his collaboration with Skrillex and 100 Waters and Chance the Rapper with like Show Me Love. Like his vocal contribution to that song cannot be understated. That motherfucker is a vocalist. Like his uh his like session on So Far Sounds with Plastic, like again,
mhm.
great guitarist, great keyboardist, great singer. He's been featured on like the Moog Lab YouTube channel on two separate occasions, at least 6 years apart from one another. Like you really have to like watch his live performance of Live from Black Alacia, where just like he's on a big ass truck and he's like singing and shit, and the band is like isolated from one another, but they are performing their asses off. Like his song Conveyor is so good. But again, you have to
Mhm,
hear like the Moog Lab version if you really
mhm,
understand just like the gravity of what this motherfucker is putting into a song. Like he's jacked as all get out, and like I love to see a motherfucker who's just jackety jack, because I'm like, man, I wish I had the respect and patience to do the same thing with my own body. And
mhm.
he's like, he got like, when Metallica put out that big like they put up that giant ass like celebration of like the Black Album, and then they made all these like prominent musicians cover their songs.
Yeah.
Moses was one of those people who got to cover The Unforgiven. um
Oh, nice.
he had his music featured in The Idol, and we know the show fucking sucks, but it's like, hey, that's HBO placement, you know what I mean? So motherfuckers who like do like, oh, we need to have this motherfucker do some songs for this show, because he's a really interesting perspective on what it is to be a prominent and like hipster favorite. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mhm.
remember reading an interview about dude on Pitchfork while I was working at my shitty job in the Kentlands, Maryland. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the video itself has like less than 100, like less than 500,000 views, and it's a bit like unnerving, I suppose, but like it's just a very, I think it's a very specific picture of like black beauty. And I love the lyrics of the song, which read, you give me all of you, I recognize my heart is black and blue, you accept all that I do, you accept all I do, but I don't know if that's wise, you offer all of you, I recognize your hand is a budding bruise, you reject solitude, but I don't know if I am worth it. Tepid and taciturn, is it enough to make you learn? You're not afraid of burns, but I don't know how to light my fire. I am a person who often has a difficult time considering my worth and my value You know,
Mhm.
I'm for lack of a better term, I'm in my horror phase, and I'm on like at least 3 apps, and sometimes you'll see somebody absolutely devastating. And you're like, yo, like I want to talk to that person. But you think, do I have anything substantial to offer to them that like I can feel confident about? And most of the time I do not feel that way. So I will just like block my own blessing because it's like, I need to work out what's going on up in here before I make that leap. Sometimes it's like, what, I will take a chance because I deserve happiness too. But like
Mhm.
it's really hard taking L's. Like I will
Yeah.
go out of my way to avoid them whenever I can because I just don't like I've made my peace with them, but it still doesn't I don't like the way it feels. And so
Mhm.
songs that like identify with just like yearning and just
Mhm.
like a struggle for like self-identification mean a lot to me. And Haystack, I know, is a person that was like, oh, like autotune is trash, only certain people can use it and not like fuck up its value. And Moses Summoning to me is one of those people, like an Imogen Heap, like a Zapp and Roger. It's like there's like because like again, Moses Summoning doesn't need no kind of vocal effect, but to use that particular mode of representation of his singing, it's like it's beautiful. And I try to reach for those high notes when I like hear the song because it's cool, and I love this like the sparse percussion that accompanies the record. And I just
Oh yeah.
I respect the singer who knows how to stack some harmonies, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so that's why this song is on here. I'm glad that it's like the closing song on this playlist because
Uh-huh.
I listen to this song at least once a month. It means the world to me.
And watching the video, I have to say, I kind of respect how the video, in a way, it's kind of like the anti D'Angelo's "How Does It Feel."
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because that video, legendary as it is, but also a video I don't really like acknowledging because while very much supposed to be about intimacy, and just inner intimacy between people, because it got shot the way it did and got catapulted the way it did, I think people missed that, and it just ended up being, oh wow, isn't D'Angelo so sexy and stuff like that? And D'Angelo has gone on his own tangent on how he felt about that. Spoiler: he didn't like it. Um, but it's great to really kind of see a video that kind of tries to represent that same kind of intimacy, and yet somehow is able to represent that kind of physical intimacy, yet it's amazing how unsexualized it feels. It's possible, but it's hard, and it's amazing how they did it. It's amazing how they did it, and I think it does kind of convey that, that wanting of intimacy, and how it's, you are very much looking for this kind of amazing connection with a fellow human being that's not just knock the basic of knocking boots and all of that. And I think, in terms of just Moses being such an interesting, captivating artist in his own, in this amazing right, very much from that McFerrin school. I mean, honestly, Moses Madison, maybe y'all can do some magic together. Just saying. Um, that I think helps convey a thing about human relationships that you know I we can always use in music, in music in general. I mean, I think yeah, we need more like in songs that intelligently talk about intimacy out there. I mean, and the many ways in which intimacy can exist, not just in like physical way, but just like really kind of being able to be like perhaps mentally intimate with someone, which that's cool. That's also pretty cool.
Shit, man, it's basically what we have together. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I would say that is a perfect way to end the first stream for our retrospective on 2016. Once again, this is I work together. We are Mide. I'm Chris. That's Aolor. On my directions are hard. Who cares? Let's do these calls to action, and we can get the hell on out of here. First things first, what I want you to do when you're done watching this live stream, I want you to, like, maybe close your laptop, close your phone, go take a bathroom break, wash your hands, splash some water on your face, brush your teeth, put on a face mask. But through all of that, you're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror. So please look at yourself in the mirror as, like, sincerely as possible and say, I love you to yourself. Please say I love you to yourself. If you cannot do that for any particular reason, trust me, I understand. Please know that I, myself, Chris Kennard, and that homie over there, yeah, Aelor, we love you in the most, like, platonic and supportive way possible. Evil is easy. Hate is easy. Love is hard, but love never fails, at least in my personal opinion. Secondly, when you leave your house for any particular reason, please wear a mask. Wear a mask over your nose. Wear a mask under your mouth, because it's a fucking pandemic and I don't want you to get sick. We just heard about Bronny, who had a heart attack, and I'm glad that he's okay. But in addition to hearing about Bronny, I was also showed, like, a video of a homie who got a really awful COVID infection at 18 years old that, like, resulted in, like, his heart, like, having complications. And I don't wish that on my worst enemy. Yes, the fuck I do, actually. But even still, please protect yourself. Please protect your neighbors. Please protect the immunocompromised. Please protect the elderly. Please protect the children. You know what I'm saying? Wear a mask. It's easy. If it's not easy for you, I'm sure there's still plenty of resources that will make getting masks available. And if you wear the cheap medical ones, wear two. Finally, stay hydrated. Drink some water. Here, hold on. I'm going to show you how. If you live on the east side of the United States, it's hot as balls. Like, please stay out of the sun. Please stay in the shade. Please stay under a tree. Like, AC is fucking expensive. So I don't know. Maybe get, like, a cheap box fan, put a bucket of ice behind that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, please just stay in the crib. You know what I mean? Like, who cares about getting money? But speaking of those who need that money, please support these unions who are fighting for a fair wage and health insurance. The actors, the writers in Hollywood. My dog
Yeah.
just got a degree in this movie business, and this motherfucker turned right the fuck back around, went right back to school to, like, learn about ways to protect himself and his brand. And so, like, if that doesn't tell you about, like, the state of the industry, I don't know what the fuck will. I hope you have a favorite TV show you're not tired of watching for the thousandth time, because it's looking real rough on over there and La La Land and shit.
Yeah.
So please know that this particular program standing in solidarity with those unions. Also, rest in, how do you say her name? The young lady who passed today.
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah, rest in peace to that shorty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
fight the real enemy. I most certainly agree with that. As a person who is often deconstructing his spiritual upbringing, man, like, there's so much work to be done. If you're wondering where do I start, just think about what you're passionate about and just, like, dig your heels in. You know what I'm saying? We love the world we live in. We love our people. We love this country. But there are so many things we need to fucking confront. And so, like, yeah, man, know your enemy. Say your prayers, pay your taxes. Anything you want to include, a Lord, before we get out of here?
Honestly, a lot of what I wanted to what I wanted to shout out to, thank you for shouting out to the unions. Once again, to screen actors and to the writers, you will be completely surprised how much, nonsense and Hollywood accountant is going on in the industry, or the fact that right now networks think it's completely cool to just delete people's hard work that they did for that company away. And and that's stuff that I'm thankful that these writers are talking about, and the actors, because hey, look, I know we see these people on TV and we consume their work, but like, dog, everyone isn't living like Dwayne Johnson. Shout out to Dwayne Johnson for
Yes,
donating
sir.
those
For
7
cutting that baby,
figures,
that big
man.
ass check, boy. Yes,
you know
sir. We appreciate that shit, man.
but yeah, everyone isn't living like that. This is still an industry where you have where like that is that is work, what you're seeing. And I think and I think that I think it is complete. I think that even, yes, even without my background, even without my degree, which is actually right behind me, but by the way,
Yes,
uh,
sir. Finally came in
you
the
know,
mail, huh?
yeah, finally, thank goodness.
Right. Congrats.
Yeah, even without my background in that, there's still, just as a person who very much has to work for his dollar, and very much has to, is still has to find a way to make a dollar out of 15 cents, as the saying goes. I get it. It's really difficult out there, and I will. And hey, look, I love. Hey, man, I love. I'm watching the Abbott Elementaries. I watch the same shows a lot of you guys do. A lot of you guys do, and you want to know how I feel about the fact that I am missing out on all my favorite shows and movies because of this strike? Absolutely nothing. I'm completely fine with that. I will, it's almost August. If it goes to December, if it goes to
Fuck it.
December, yeah, I'm cool. I'm down. I'll live. I went through this before in 2007. I
Hold
lived.
on. Let me say this.
Yeah.
Without like incriminating us or this show, my favorite show is One Piece. So keep that energy in mind. If certain if your favorite shows are like or if you can't find them in stores or in libraries, do what you gotta, because like it's clear that these assholes who own the rights to everything don't even want you to see shit that was made that like never got a chance to really just like to like gain like a mainstream appeal. So before we go on another fucking 20-minute tangent, death to fascism, death to capitalism. We love you so much, and we'll be back hopefully when August starts. I think I'm shooting for a mid-August release date for our second quarter.
Mhm.
Laura, it's a pleasure to do this with you. Thank you for your time. To all who have seen who stayed with the stream for the whole time, and for those who will see it in the future, you're fucking awesome, and go make your dreams come true. Say goodbye, Laura.
Goodbye and good luck, folks. And indeed, this is not farewell.